Hi everyone and welcome to episode 270 of the Mighty Whites podcast. I'm Jack, as always joined by KC.
Fucking yeah.
That was a hell of a night, wasn't it, mate?
Solid performance, but just what the doctor ordered. Steady away.
There was some people confident, some weren't, but I don't think anyone saw just Leeds putting in what might have been the best performance of the season and just battering them.
Yeah, it was great. Just, like the things you felt we should have been doing against, like, Plymouth, but we did it to 6th in the table instead.
Yeah, I do wonder. Well, we'll get straight into it because we'll do it sort of chronologically. The lineup before everything started. Peru in for Byram. I assume Byram injured as he wasn't on the bench either. And went Peru at 9, Ruter at 10, back to the sort of main shape used this season. Obviously, on the preview podcast, you were very much advocating for the keeping the same shape, at least for like the first hour that we had in the first leg.
Yeah, I think once you kind of had the thought about Byram not being fit enough, or in this case, just outright injured, I kind of thought, right, I think we might see an hour of Connor Roberts here then. I didn't expect us kind of revert fully back to type. Because honestly, still had the doubts of what I'd seen 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, as soon as I saw that, and because of work, I only ended up seeing the team about 15 minutes before kickoff. And it's just like, oh, all right, fine. Okay, this is... So we'll have no one pressing, big gap in the midfield again. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, it was the worry that everyone had. I was a bit more 50-50 than you. I started that preview podcast saying, no, go back to normal at home. And by the time you'd made all your points, I was like, oh, no, actually, I'm starting to come around to your way of thinking here. But for all the worry we had about pressing doesn't work as well with Peru and hole in the midfield and all of that, none of that was an issue. And I think 95% of that was down to Leeds just playing really well. Norwich also brought in Ashley Barnes for Borja Sainz and sort of basically played with two up top. So they kind of lost a midfielder as well. And I think that really played into our hands. Just in terms of the setup, I think it meant Kamara could always step up to press because you only needed Gruev. And it suited us somewhat rotten. But I think that with the relative performances of the two sides, they could have been in any formation, both teams, and Leeds would have won.
Yeah, honestly, we just started so well. It was really nice just to see us getting at them straight away, getting the ball, running at defenders 90% of the time, running at them with some level of purpose. 10% of the time, it was Nonto and Ruter not entirely sure what they were planning, just knowing I'm going somewhere.
They did two back-to-back in about 3 minutes, didn't they, where they'd both beaten like 4 players. And I'm like, oh, God, what do I do now?
Was that one where Nonto picked up about halfway inside our half and just kept going? And I was screaming at the TV, left, look at Firpo! Oh, he's just run straight into the defender. Honestly, if I'd have been Junior Firpo, I'd have been absolutely furious. But look, fortunately, that happened at least at 2-0 up. But we just started so promisingly. It was really nice to see because obviously Norwich started quite lively in the first leg, and then they kind of, I think they started the first 10 minutes really pressing us, and then sort of eased off a little bit after that. In this, they just didn't have that chance at all. The ball did not stick in our half at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, before kickoff, the I mean, I normally don't get in there until very close to kickoff, but we did go in a little bit early this time. We were in about 20 minutes early, something like that. And the atmosphere was already phenomenal by then. I haven't heard it like that in a long time. It might even be the Derby game before it went wrong. Like it was.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's probably the last home game where, in a positive sense, there were fans there where something was really riding on it.
Yeah, I mean, for pre-match, I mean, there's been moments like the Gelhardt goal against Norwich. After that, it was as loud as you'll ever hear it. But before kickoff, I really couldn't. Like, I was getting messages from people who aren't even Leeds fans, which I did. I didn't see them until about 35 minutes in when someone was down injured, and I looked at my phone. But it was messages from people that aren't even Leeds fans going, "That ground looks and sounds amazing tonight." So there must have really been some.
Yeah, I mean, there was, and I think we even poked fun at it a little bit. As you are wonderfully demonstrating now, the scarves that were put out, which many people reference back to the Derby game, going, "Went well last time."
Yeah, I believe I made that joke on our Twitter along with a million other people. Leeds don't learn lessons. I love this scarf.
At least we didn't give them sticks to throw at people.
True.
Or sharp cardboard to attack. Who would Norwich's equivalent of Jack Grealish be?
Judging by the crowd reaction, Ashley Barnes.
And yet, such very different looking people.
Yeah.
But yeah, the atmosphere was fantastic, from everyone holding the scarves up at the start to once we'd got going, everyone swinging them around. It really adds something to the Junior Firpo song, just swinging a scarf around.
Yeah.
Really adds to the rave effect. But yeah, it looked and sounded absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. And you're just hoping after that, and it was obviously with Leeds, you say this a lot every game. When you're favourites for anything in football, you're always thinking, "Oh, a quick start." But it really was a quick start. We were straight into them. Like 2 minutes in, Somerville plays the ball into Ruto, does a little flick to get it back to him, and he shoots over. And I remember saying to my dad as soon as he did it, I went, "That's more than Ruto's done in the last two games." And
yeah, absolutely.
He was fucking back last night. It was
back for one night only.
No, please give us two. But it really, I mean, we had that early chance and we really got up for it. But I don't think anyone would have picked out the way that the first goal would happen. Starts out, Joe Rodon steps up and wins the ball really well and breaks forward with it. Passes a ball way overhit, going miles out of play, and they just kick him for no apparent reason.
Really, really stupid challenge. Whether we got something, whether we ended up doing something with it or not, it was such a pointless tackle because it's after the ball's gone. It's not as if he's forced him into doing that. Yeah. The ball is gone and he's just gone into the back of him.
Yeah. But I suppose, unlike us, where we're always like, don't give away cheap free kicks because the match got, you can probably give them away against Leeds because we can't do out with crosses. Fortunately. Yeah, they're miles out. Everyone's set up for a cross. Somerville runs over the ball, which takes John Rowe out of the wall. And something that I didn't see in real time, I've only seen back on the TV and got mentioned to me once we got back to the pub afterwards. As John Rowe runs off, I don't know who the other guy in the wall is. Was it Sarah?
I think it might have been Nunez.
It might have been, but yeah, he takes a little step to his left. Because that's what side the post's on. But with a one-man wall, it doesn't really matter. And it's obviously noticed it. I think they've talked after the game and said that the analyst had noticed that Angus Gunn overcorrects and goes to prepare for crosses. And Gruev, although it's, it bounces early and stuff, he struck it so well. Gone for the near post, caught, there's as near as makes no difference, 40,000 people in that ground, and I don't think anyone saw it coming. And he just hits it brilliantly in the corner. It's a fantastic goal. What a way and what a time to get your first goal for Leeds.
It's absolutely everything you wanted in as much as it's a really unexpected goal from a set piece, from a player you don't expect it from, really early in an important game. Like just it all came together in that moment of, because the amount of times you say, because I think you kind of said in the last one as well that Norwich not having a great away record, there's a very good chance they're going to come set up here for an hour to frustrate us and then try and hit us late on.
That's what I thought they'd do. I was really surprised when Barnes started.
And then yeah, we've scored, and that's just that plan out of the window then for them. Whatever it was their plan was, it's gone.
Yeah, I'm not sure they had one, to be honest.
No, it was. Yeah, we just swarmed them. It was, I think, you know, the Bielsa siren will be going off somewhere. The pressing was just that intense, and I know it's something we've done at times in the season, but I think for over the course of 90 minutes, it's been a fair while since I've seen us press a team that much for 90 minutes. I think purely because for most games this season, there's always been another game on Tuesday. There's always been another game on Saturday. So you get to 60 minutes and you think, we're looking all right here. Just don't do anything daft now. And they just played with this intensity that you've not seen for weeks now.
Yeah. I thought the intensity was really high, but I thought they were smart about it. Like, good thing about sitting so high up is that you say it a lot. Kamara you remember early in the season, he would really push on to press. Like,
yeah,
he'd be so high up that sometimes you'd just get caught out. On this, he would really go. But if the ball then got laid back to centre back, he would stop and make sure he was goal side. Because, I mean, like, a lot of the time he was on Sarah and you wouldn't have known he were playing.
Yeah.
He had a couple of sloppy passes, did Kamara, but outside of that, he was outstanding. But you can say this about a lot of them. And another one that was outstanding, and I'm so pleased for him, given everything, given things that even the people that like him say about his game. I thought Joe Pirou was brilliant in this game. Right way through. Both with ball and without ball.
Well, heck, he was there.
Yeah. Oh, was he in the studio?
He was in the studio, yes. Yeah, brilliant performance from him today. So yeah, just his decision making off the ball was really good. He got in some fantastic spaces, because I didn't think, we seem to break quite often, but I didn't think, like, if you think back to the Swansea game where you just kept going, there's so much space to run into here. I didn't even think it was so much that. I just think we kept making really good runs and actually playing the ball. I think our choice of pass so often was really good. There's a few bits of play, just the link up play between sort of Nonto, Georgie, and Pirou and Somerville as well, where they're just knocking it about between them, where you're just there going, no reason. I mean, I don't want to take away from them. There's no, I can fully understand why Shane Duffy and Ben Gibson aren't keeping up with this.
Yeah. As you mentioned that Swansea game, I would say like that Swansea game, we could have played terribly and I think we'd have won 3-0. Because it was their fault that we were getting all the chances. In this, it was our fault. It was us being good. I mean, Norwich will be looking at it and thinking that they could have played better, and they probably could have done, but I think this was way more on us being good. You could tell in the crowd that, like, everyone knew Norwich were panicking here. You heard a lot of people around us going, just stay on them, because you could feel it going, and that's exactly what happened. 20 minutes in, Nonto gets the ball on the right, puts in an absolute worldie of a cross. Like, it's such a good ball. Pirou is making a good run, doesn't need to break stride, doesn't need to jump, just heads it past Angus Gunn, who, the way he came off his line and spread it, I'm more saying great cross. There's some people who have been saying that it was bad goalkeeping. And maybe if he gambles really early, he can get there. But I just thought the cross was perfect.
Yeah, I think watching it, my first reaction was that Angus Gunn left it far too late to come out for that. But because it's such a teasing ball as well, it hangs for a fair while. This looping cross, and where does it land? About sort of the back edge of the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
Like you say, and it's just perfect for Piru. Absolutely lovely header. Really, it's one of those where, because of the way we played going into this, the amount of times I said the words, "I'm so happy for X," because they've needed this performance.
My one of them will come soon.
Yeah. But yeah, lovely header. Really glad to see it. He was just absolutely loving life at that point. Scenes.
Yeah. And shortly after we go 2-0 up, what I think is, it's not even underrated because people have been calling it out. There's a massive moment just after this. Ampadu misses a through ball, and you could really tell he was favourite. Like, on the angle we were in, it looked like he hadn't missed it. So it was weird for him to stand because it looked like Ampadu won it, and then suddenly went, "Hang on, how is Sargent through?"
The ball has just transported through him still.
Yeah, it was like a glitch or something. But Ampadu misses a through ball. Sargent goes through 1-on-1, and he goes to lift it over Meslier, but Meslier, he's made himself big, and then he gambles and puts the hand straight up and makes the save. And I mean, barring dealing with a couple of crosses, that was all he had to do in the game. But if they score then and make it 2-1, as we know from games such as Derby, if you concede one and they get some belief, it becomes a completely different game. And the reaction to that save, I thought it sounded like we'd just scored a goal. And then I've seen the highlights back today, and it really was. And for a reaction to a save, it was about as loud as it gets, other than maybe a penalty save.
Yeah, it was phenomenal from Meslier for someone who has come in for a fair bit of stick the last couple of months.
These last couple of years, it's probably fair to say.
Well, there will always be like the people who knocked down Liam Cooper, like the people, because there'll always be someone there to go, yeah, but he had Ben White next to him and got promoted. There'll always be those people. Meslier is a good keeper. He's 18 clean sheets this season. Yeah. 20 now.
He's not a top level goalkeeper. Maybe he will be one day, but he's a good goalkeeper. He just has a rick in him.
Yeah. you just watch the reaction to come off his line as quickly as he did was fantastic. And then, like you say, kept himself big, takes the gamble that he's going to chip it, which I can fully see because he closes him down so well. He sort of forces him to do it.
Yeah,
it's either he's got to chip it or he's got to go wide of him, and he's quite wide in the penalty area. So, like you say, Sargent goes for the chip, and it's honestly, I could almost hear Mellier's deep voice just shouting the words "fuck off" at him.
Yeah. Why is it? No.
Huge save. Everyone rightly goes to give him an absolute massive smack around the back and the head because that'll do him good. And it's that quite nice thing of everyone celebrating for him, and he's just like, "Watch the corner."
Yeah, I did like that. Everyone else is running over to him, and he's like, "Will you fuck off and defend this corner?" And it's it's about another 20 minutes, isn't it? Because the goals were so well spread. But there's a ball we played around, and Piru gets away down the left, drives to the edge of the box, plays it inside. It's a little bit behind Somerville, so it turns into a little bit of a scramble. But I think it's Duffy in the end that gets a toe on it and plays it across to Jorginho Rutter, who smashes it in off the bar. The angle I was on, it looked like he'd sort of sliced it and that he wasn't aiming there. But having seen it back on telly, it's a little bit higher than he meant to, but he is aiming for that corner. It's a much better finish than it looked in the stadium. And this is my turn to have the, God, I'm so pleased for him getting one. It'll do him the world of good. and this whole game will have done him the world of good. But I mean, I'm not wrong in thinking it's only his second goal at Elland Road.
Yeah, it was absolutely ages for him to get his first.
Yeah. It was, and I'll be that was the moment. Even though I still had the Leeds pessimism voice in my head, that was the moment where I think the whole crowd went, "We've got this. We've properly got this." Well, I know that a lot of the crowd did, because that was when you started getting some of the songs. Like that was the first time you heard the song about Wembley, and a load of other people started singing "Marching On Together." Like, no,
shut up, lads,
not yet. And there was a few ways and stuff like that. I will shout out to Smudge, who did messages on the preview show. He messaged us saying 3-0 during the last one, and he's just messaged saying wasn't too far away. And yeah, you're right, mate.
Fair.
Georgie's goal.
What terrible memory of mine. Did we give a prediction for this game?
Yeah. I have them here. I had a 0-0 draw. You had a 2-0 win.
Oh, lovely.
Connie had a 1-0 win, and Alex had a 2-1 win. So everyone got points. Everyone got points except me.
Everyone fairly confident there.
Yeah.
It was that point where you're just there going, and what was that one? 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So you just before half time as well, and you just, they must be there thinking, right, we've got about 15 minutes here. Things have settled down a bit. Let's just get in at half time and sort of have a bit of a regroup, and you just put that third in. And it would have needed some sort of Herculean effort to come back at that point, because you just didn't see it in any of them at all. It wasn't even as if they were doing things and they just weren't working. It was just, no, we're just not letting you do this.
Yeah. I did listen to the match ball while I was working earlier, and they mentioned something that I didn't notice in real time. Apparently that Giannoulis, after it went 3-0, was just laid face down in their box and just didn't move, and like Shane Duffy or someone had to go over and pick him up.
Mate,
which I think said everything about the situation.
Mate, you're making us look bad, yeah.
You're making us look bad, and that's not good.
I think one of the things that really stood out to me, and in the grand scheme of the game, was a very insignificant moment. There's a moment where I'm pretty sure it's Gibson who's trying to bring the ball out, plays it to a centre mid, who just gives it straight back to him. He carries it another 5-6 yards. We're just sort of dropping back to the halfway line. Gibson gives it to someone else. Touch, straight back to him. He takes it another 5 or 6 yards, gets to about the halfway line, plays it, Leeds win it back. And you were just there going, we're giving them absolutely nothing. We just left it to him. Carry it forward. That's fine. You're not going anywhere. You're not going to beat 3 players here.
Yeah.
And anyone that will, we're marking them. It was.
Yeah. That's
so
what I meant about the
organised.
press being a lot more intelligent for this game. Like, they weren't overcommitting and leaving someone spare. There was a couple of times where someone got free in the middle. But Norwich have got enough players that it's going to happen a couple of times. They've got some quality in there. But like that you were saying with the going back, that's when Leeds weren't playing well. Swap Gibson for Roden, and that's what you were seeing.
Yeah. He's getting to halfway line and just holding his hands out going, someone has got to get free. And at that point, like I say, it's either they were all marked or they just were hiding.
Yeah.
And yeah, halftime whistle goes and you're just feeling fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, 3-0 at half-time, and that's not even mentioning Roden had a really good headed chance from a corner. Nonto broke through twice in sort of the right side of the box and hit 2 low shots. He would back himself to have done better with at least one of them. Just before half-time, Jorginho Ruta gets the ball about 6 yards out and can't get a shot away. And if he does get a shot away, it's a belting chance. Like, it could have easily been 4 or 5.
Yeah, and it was just so thoroughly deserved.
Yeah,
like every part of it, we just deserved it.
Yeah, you like the. I can't obviously my dad goes for a smoke out time, and I went down with him. And it took forever to get down there because I don't know how when it's the same number of people there as all the other games because they always sell out. But it seems like there was twice as many people.
Victory smoke.
Yeah, it was just like, it was really busy. It took ages to get out there, but everyone was just in the best mood. Even like, there's always someone at the football who's a ridiculous amount of drunk, and
Yeah.
that can be really annoying. Not when you're 3-0 up and you played like that. They're just in a great mood and hammered.
It's like, hey, God,
All
son.
good. So we'll go back up for the second half, and you are wondering after a first half like that there is that nagging voice in your head going, "No, stupid. If they get one early, we've just scored 3 in 45 minutes. We know it can be done." There's also we conceded all the goals quickly against Derby. We know it's in the back of his head. And you wonder, are Leeds going to keep the levels up? And I mean, 30 seconds into the second half, it should have been 4.
Yeah.
Rutte with a really great ball into Somerville, lays it off to Peru, who absolutely smashes it. He hits it perfect, but straight at gun. And anything other than straight at him, and it's a goal.
If he passes it into either corner, it's a goal.
Yeah.
It just straight off, you just look at it and just think. Ultimately, it doesn't matter now. But at the time you're looking at, oh, for God's sake, right, here we go. This is where it happens.
Yeah, I must admit, I didn't have this, but I did hear, again, on the Red Sport, they mentioned them going, oh, will these chances cost us? I'll be honest, around me, the pessimism had gone by the second half. It had turned.
It's probably one of the most pessimistic games I've had, to be honest, because I was just looking going, we are another Ethan Ampadu slip away from losing this 4-3. They barely had a shot on goal, and there's me there going, it just, Roden and Gray run into each other, and it's all over.
Yeah. Just feels like a Norwich goal's coming. What game are you watching? Yeah, there was also a really good. I thought it was you will actually know from the TV pictures. Somerville's header from it was like Archie Gray's cross. Was that as close as it looked from me stand up? It looked like a really good header. It was very unlucky.
It was a very good header, and it's especially one when you're looking at. Was that Somerville?
Yeah,
that would have been a collector's item for him scoring a header. He'd have joined the list of. Did he score a header in that? I'm trying to think. Because Dan James got the header
in the game that Dan James scored the header. Somerville also scored one at the back post.
Yeah, sorry, he did. Yeah. It'd have been nice for him to score a goal that didn't involve cutting it off the right hand side.
Yeah, and Peru had another one good. He got put through with like an overlapping run and he got played in by Somerville. It is a one-on-one, but it's quite a tight angle. That one I more had down as good goalkeeping by Gunn, rather than a bad finish on that one. I thought that it was a pretty good one. But I don't know what minute it was. I'll check. 68th minute. Leeds again breakthrough midfield. This time it was a really good pass from Glenn Kamara. He just split the lines perfectly, and Somerville had a load of room. He attacks the box, knocks it square to Nonto. Pretty good shot towards the bottom left corner. Decent save from Gunn, but Firpo, he isn't just first to react. He's first to react by 5 yards. And it would be so easy to run in on that and just drill it across the face of goal. But because Firpo is now composed and stuff, takes a breath, just easy, simple pullback, pulls it back straight to Somerville, who has a simple tap in. 4-0, party time, and then it turns into just a celebration. It's a celebration at that point, even though there's 25 minutes left. And God, it was such a fucking pleasure to be at Elland Road.
And here is I'm very happy he got a goal, because for me the last couple of months, I think there has been, and I think probably more so than on Jorginho, I think there's been so much expectation put on Somerville to create something, because when we're not playing well, a lot of the time it does seem to be give him the ball and hope he can cut inside and score.
Yeah.
And it's just happened so much, and you can see the frustration on his face. And then you had the daft stuff in sort of midweek last week as well, of when they went out for that meal and everyone was doing the classic, Somerville's in that picture, but he's not smiling, he must be leaving. Look at him.
If anyone ever sees a picture of me, they're going to think, I mean, I am a miserable cunt, but they are going to think that I'm the worst human in the world because I can't smile on purpose. So in every photo, I'm not smiling.
You're just there going, I think the saying these days is just go touch some grass, yeah, just
Yeah.
it'll be all right. Yeah, I was so pleased for him that he got that goal, and it was that thing of, well, as soon as he put it in, straight away over to Firpo, pointing at him, because massive plaudits to him for getting on the end of that.
So, that's Firpo's 8th assist of 2024.
Nice.
Do you know who we're level with for most assists in the Championship in 2024?
Is it Leif Davis?
No, it's Luke Ayling.
I did see Luke Ayling's got. Luke Ayling has 9 this season. I did see that.
Yeah.
So he's clearly had a decent spell at Borough then.
Yeah.
So back in the team next season, yeah.
At Middlesbrough, yeah. Immediately, Dan James comes on for Nonto. 5 minutes later, Connor Roberts on for Ruter, Joseph on for Peru, and we go into the Gray at 10 shape. Anthony on for Somerville, and then there's not much going on in the game, and everyone is sort of at first just saying to each other, and eventually just starts singing to go, "Hey, Farker, bring Cooper on now."
Yeah,
it's probably his last game at Elland Road. You best get him on the fucking pitch. Also, Gruev's been booked, so take him off. And it took a while, but yeah, 83rd minute, Cooper comes on for Gruev. Ampadu sort of steps up a bit, but not really, because at this point there was almost no structure. There was no game going on. I'll be honest, I don't really even remember. I remember once Cooper came on, I remember was immediately taking a relatively long throw in backwards to give him a touch immediately. The crowd singing Cooper scores and we're on the pitch, and Dan James being given the chance to set this up and taking 2 of the worst corners you'll ever see in your life.
I really hope someone does the supercut of Liam Cooper's performance, and this is not a knock on him at all, because he was just get the ball, keep it simple, play it across to Joe Roden, or play it back to Ilan Melia. And I just want the supercut to like really dramatic music and explosions of Cooper cuts inside, sideways pass, well done, keep it simple.
Does something basic, massive pop. It's Rock Hogan, WrestleMania 18. It's Liam Cooper. But I was really, really glad that he got on, because in a playoff semi-final, you're not expecting to be able to spare 10 minutes for a bit of sentiment. And we could.
Marcelo Bielsa would not have done that.
No, he wouldn't, you're right.
He wouldn't have taken the mick out of Norwich in that way.
Yeah, he'd have done it, but he'd have apologised. And he'd have apologised to Liam Cooper.
Yeah,
as well.
I've used you as a prop here, and that's entirely my fault.
I shouldn't have done that. You should have. But no, we were just outstanding. As I said, the end of it was just Leeds fans going through the songbook and adding a new thing to it with Ashley Barnes playing the role of Tyrone Mings. To have and I'm glad we've got someone to replace him, because I still stand by my thing. I said I'm never singing that again about Tyrone Mings after he made that block.
Yeah, absolute hero.
Yeah, he's a hero, is Tyrone Mings. So yeah, Ashley Barnes is indeed fucking shit. Now, viewing it through the prism of David Wagner has now been sacked. I don't think for a second this is why, because there's been rumours about him getting sacked all season. He apparently don't get on with new director of football. The fans aren't mad keen on him. When Norwich are bad, they are apparently abysmal. Like in a lot of the games that we don't see, I've seen Norwich fans, because everyone's natural reaction was that's a bit harsh. But when you listen to Norwich fans talk about it, it sounds like it's less harsh than it was. Ashley Barnes is getting dog's abuse off the entire crowd. Everyone is taking the piss out of him. Everyone is singing. And just as the level of piss taking calms down, he subs him to bring it all back up. And everyone was going, that's hilarious. That's appalling management.
Oh, it's probably
really happy when he came off, because I thought Ashley Barnes was looking pissed off enough that he might try and crock someone.
He's got previous against us. Yeah. Bless him. He really hung him out to dry with that. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Ashley Barnes looked like he was on a mission to get booked, because he he looked so annoyed with everything from the first minute.
Yeah.
And you got that point where just before a corner, he pushes Firpo pushes him, and Barnes has a think and then goes to ground. And fair play to the ref, because I really thought that was going to be both yellow cards.
Yeah.
Behave yourselves, and he didn't do it.
It's fair to give that shout out, by the way. I thought Jared Gillett was really good.
Yeah, it did not hear too much of Jared Gillett in that game, and it was nice. It's what you want from a referee, isn't it? But from that point on, you then have the moment of him crawling through Joe Rodon's legs to lay on the football and try and hold on to Rodon's legs at the same time, which was what led to the that leads to the Jonathan Rowe dive.
I still haven't seen back, and I had a bad angle of in the stadium. But you said that it was an absolute blatant one.
Yeah, once you see the angle sort of dead in line with it, it's ridiculous. Because I was worried at first because Archie Gray started pretending to brandish a yellow card, and I was like, "Don't you get yourself booked now? Like, leave it."
Yeah.
But yeah, that's absolutely and a daft thing as well, because he'd beaten 2 defenders.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why you went down, but yeah, like you say, party time at the end. The mercy killing rule of only giving 2 minutes stoppage time.
Yeah, in a half with 10 subs in it.
10 subs, couple of injuries, a goal. Yeah, 2 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I mean, we started doing a little bit of time wasting stuff, but Norwich weren't even complaining about it because they wanted it over too. Right.
Yeah.
So can I twist your arm into a trip to Wembley? We've just had Michael in the comments asking if we're going, and I reckon we'll probably go.
Yeah.
Seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if it isn't, you've got to if you can, haven't you?
I could get used to going to Wembley every year. Admittedly, last year it was for an AEW wrestling show, not Leeds, but I could get used to going.
Yeah. Well, the details have just been released. They go on sale to season ticket holders tomorrow morning at 10:30. There's 5 pricing levels: 105, 82, 67, 54, and 37, which is about what I was expecting. There isn't that many of the 37s, and they're right at the back, as you'd expect.
It's kind of the whole generally sporting event, like major sporting events, gigs, and all that sort of stuff. Since the pandemic, all have become a lot more expensive. It's one of those things that I don't like, because I don't think a gig ticket should ever be more than about 50 quid. But here we are now.
The funk's over there.
Yeah. It's one of those where I can't complain about it, because I'm the mug here. I'm still gonna buy it.
Yeah, that is always the case, isn't it? It's like, oh, this is a ridiculous amount of money, but I can't complain that much because I'm going to pay for it.
Am I going to protest? Am I going to make my stand for the playoff final? Oh, hell no.
The bit that I think is a bit ridiculous is the coach is 60 quid.
Yeah.
That seems high. I mean, like, we were 100% going on the coach. There is a chance we still will, but we are looking at other arrangements.
Yeah, I know both you and I have some very flattering lighting on us during these podcasts, but we're actually a lot heavier than we look.
No, you're a lot heavier than you look. I'm exactly as fat as I
look. Yeah, I don't know if 10 hours in a day on a coach is what I would call ideal for people of our build. Your dad would be absolutely fine.
He's old, but he'll just get if we drive down. He'll get.
I was thinking more the size, just him.
Yeah,
being a very thin man comparatively, and but generally.
It's not that long since that we went to Arsenal away, and I think that was 30 quid on the coach. So 60 just feels a bit over the top. But, again, but they'll fill up all the coaches.
Yeah.
So it's not reasonable.
Look out for us with our cardboard sign on the day on the hard shoulder.
Yeah. We've had a. Yeah, we have had a couple. We've had another message off Spudge, which I will read out, especially given he was right with prediction. We'll talk about this more later in the week when we do a prediction. But he says he's heard a lot of people talking about starting Bamford if he's fit in the final, but he probably wouldn't change it. Given that performance, if everyone's fit, I don't think you can change it.
Yeah, very
It'd be
tough
nice
to.
if we could get Bamford back onto the bench if he's fit, but
I
a
mean,
performance like that, it's hard to argue.
I mean, I think another part of my logic for originally wanting to stick with the same starting lineup as Sunday was kind of like we've had at times with Bamford this season, was that even though Jorginho wasn't in the game that much himself, I thought generally as a unit we'd looked better for having him as the front man in there. That was kind of one of the leading things for my logic for wanting that to happen again in the second leg. But yeah, after a performance like that, it's very tough to drop anyone from that team that's played that well.
Yeah, and this will be the last thing. We've had another question here. Leeds haven't beaten Southampton. They've done the double, and we haven't beaten West Brom. They've took 4 points. They'll be much tougher opponents. Branching off from that comment, who would you rather play? Who do you think we will be playing?
I think I would like to play West Brom because I just think player for player, I think we're a better team.
I agree.
I know on the day, I think they would probably play of the two teams. I think they would bring a more conservative approach than Southampton would. But in a playoff final, you've got to go for it at some point. You can't do that for 90 minutes. Whereas Southampton, I think, have got a very good team. Who I think it's just frustrating that we just haven't competed with them in these two league meetings so far. So yeah, I think I'd go West Brom. I want us to play. Southampton is who I think we will play.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that. I'm just curious. I'm going to have a look at what the like to get through prices are. Because like Leeds went in at 1-4 for the Norwich one, which felt short because of pessimism, but was fine. So there's not a similar level. Southampton 3-10, West Brom 12-5. So they're almost as strong a favourites as we were. I do think one thing I can't say is I can't see West Brom capitulating in the way Norwich did. As much as we were good, I think that you'd see more fight out of West Brom just because I think they're better coached, especially in the defensive shape. So I think that they will probably be able to drag it out. I don't think Southampton are going to score after a few minutes in the way we did, but I do think Southampton sort of 2-0 is what I'd reckon tonight. But I would much prefer to play West Brom. And don't get me wrong, if we play West Brom, I don't think it's like, it's 80-20 Leeds. No, I think Southampton is like player for player, I'd say it's 50-50. And given they've beat us twice, I'd probably have to make them slight favs. If we play West Brom, even though they've took 4 points off us, I would say that we are favourites. But it won't be easy by any means.
Yeah, and I think either way, and we'll get into this later, I think it will be a more conservative approach from us starting. I don't know if you'll see the same high energy start that you saw on Thursday. I'd like to see it, but
to be honest, if we're against West Brom, I disagree. If we're against West Brom, I think we'll just go for it. Against Southampton, he may well play Gray. Then he might be tempted to play Gray midfield because our midfield. I can't talk about the away game because we missed most of it, but in the home game, our midfield could not cope, and he might want an extra body in for that one. But we'll talk about that more when we know who we're playing when we come back later in the week.
Doesn't matter, mate. HMS missed the playoffs. Here we go.
Yeah. But that would be, well, God, I hope so, because we've earned a really nice day. We really have.
I'll just leave this on the note of speaking to someone at a bar when I was watching the first leg in Tenerife. I never even found out who he supported, but he just went, when you get promoted through the playoffs, it's the best feeling. And I just looked at him and went, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. But yeah, that will do us for episode 270. After what was up there for one of the best days I've had at Elland Road in my life. It was fucking fantastic. I've been Jack, see ya.
I've been Casey. Heck yeah.
In a bit.